Okay, so we're going to start off. I'm going to hand over to Dr. Stephen Ives to do our welcome to country.
Thank you, Eva. Today we are meeting on Lutruwita, Tasmania, Aboriginal land, sea and waterways. I acknowledge with deep respect the traditional owners of this land, the Mawinini people, which we meet today. The Mawinanina, keep getting that wrong, people belong to the oldest continuing culture in the world. They cared and protected country for thousands of years. They knew this land, they lived on the land, and they died on these lands. I honour them. For the Mawinina people, the area around Nipaluna, Hobart, was their country, and they called Mount Wellington Kananani. I acknowledge that this is a privilege to stand on country and walk in the footsteps of those before us, beneath the mountain, among the gums and waterways that continue to run through the veins of the Tasmanian Aboriginal community. I pay my respects to elders past and present, and to the many Aboriginal people that did not make elder status, and to the Tasmanian Aboriginal community that continue to care for country. I recognise a history of truth which acknowledges the impacts of invasion and colonisation upon Aboriginal people, resulting in the genocide and forcible removal from their lands. Our island is a deeply unique, with spectacular landscapes with their cities and towns surrounded by bushland, wilderness, mountain ranges and beaches. I stand for a future that profoundly respects and acknowledges Aboriginal perspectives, culture, language and history, and a continued effort to fight for Aboriginal justice and rights, paving the way for a strong future.
Thank you, Stephen. All right, so I'm just going to quickly talk to you about what the certificates are. So basically, we've introduced these undergraduate certificates as part of the federal government higher relief package. They're a 6-month full-time certificate, and which give you the opportunity to upskill or continue on to further undergraduate study. And there are between 50 and 100% scholarship on these certificates. And they all start in July. Next slide, please. So there are a number of different study areas: nursing, education, university preparation, health, engineering, science, agriculture, and business. But today we will be talking specifically about our undergraduate certificate in small business and in agribusiness. So I'm going to hand over now to, if I could have the next slide, please, to Dr. Clayton Hawkins, who is the course coordinator for the undergraduate certificate in small business. Thanks for joining us, Clayton. Would you be able to tell us a bit about these certificates?
Absolute pleasure, Eva. More than happy to. Yeah, so I'm the course coordinator of this program, which also articulates into the Associate Degree in Applied Business, which I'll talk about shortly. I haven't always been in academia. I've worked in business and in event management, in hotels, in tourism, so various, and excuse me, and local government as well. So you'll find that our teachers in this program have come from the respective areas that these undergraduate certificates concentrate on. This particular undergraduate certificate is, it's called small business, but what you do learn will be applicable to medium enterprise and some large enterprise as well. Excuse me. So it says here that you will learn the skills to make up the foundation of success in business. And that's pretty much what it's centered on, is if you're going to start up a business, or you're working in business, or you want to progress within your business, so whether that's your business or someone else's business, hopefully these skills, what you learn, the knowledge, the skills, the behaviours, the attributes that you collect through this will help you to improve your own skill set, but also to help improve the business itself. And so whether that's you starting a new career, or whether you're, as I said, working your way up within a business or starting your own, it's all applicable across those. So it says here to excel in the modern business world, and the the first unit that you'll study with us is called Contemporary Business Environments. And that's important because the contemporary business environment, as we're in right now, is quite dynamic and constantly changing. And this particular unit introduces you to the world of business and the dynamic world that it's in, and how you, as a small business operator or employee within that industry, how you may navigate that and have some skills, knowledge, behaviours, attributes to, as I said, to navigate that. We have particular units as well in business finance. Your accountant might give you the paperwork, but can you read it? If they give you your monthly statements, they give you your annual statements. Can you, as a business operator, make the decisions from that? Can you see the trends that are in there? Can you plan for your business going forward based on that material? So not turning into accountants, but are you able to read the documents that you're given and make those decisions? We have another unit called Marketing for Business. So pretty much, how do you promote your business and its various activities that go on? And we provide a skill set, an approach to identifying what your own brand is and how you may contact various sectors of the community or that you're trying to attract, identifying your various markets. We have another unit you can choose from called Lean Thinking. Lean Thinking is quite a how can I put it? A bit of a buzz in Tasmania. It's all about removing waste from your organisation. And we're not talking about physical waste. We're talking about the wasted activities that we do, the excessive movement, the various extra steps that we do when we do various business activities. And how can we remove that to free us up to work smarter rather than harder? So that's fundamentally what that unit is about. We also have an optional unit called the Wellbeing Toolkit, which is common across numerous of these undergraduate certificates. And that's really about you and your own well-being. There is a module in there on business finance, which is about your own home finance. And hopefully we build on that with our finance unit, but that is an elective in our program. So we have our core unit, the Contemporary Business Environments, which I said was that general approach. We have the business finance, Marketing for Business, Lean Thinking, and the Wellbeing Toolkit. So, and I'll feel free to provide any questions that you may have at the end. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Clayton. Yeah, feel free to start writing any questions in the Q&A at the bottom there, everyone, if you do have any questions for either Clayton or for Stephen. I'll hand over to Dr. Stephen Ives now, who is the course coordinator for Agribusiness.
Thank you, Eva. Yes, it's the reason why we asked Clayton to go first is because business has applies in all aspects of industry and life. And if you've decided that actually I'm really interested in food and fibre, the undergrad certificate in agribusiness is just for you. It's really blending those business studies and those units that Clayton has mentioned with an understanding of how it applies to agriculture. And as Clayton has mentioned, and I think we all understand that in this sort of dynamic world we're in at the moment where things are continually changing, it's interesting that people have come back to grassroots because everyone still needs to be fed. So if you've got a really good understanding of business, but also a really good understanding of how you apply that in this sector, this is a certificate that is right up your alley. So I've got a background in agronomy, a background in small business, and as Clayton has mentioned before, all our teachers have industry experience and are very well connected with industry. And that's one of the beauties of being in these programs, is that we do know someone who runs a food and fibre operation. We do know the farmers, and so we can connect you directly into those fields. So doing this certificate will lead you to possibly further education if you want to, but can also help you get a little bit more ahead perhaps in the business you're in. Because I think everyone that wants to study needs to know, well, what's the return on my investment? Am I going to get a better job? or am I going to get a job? And hopefully through these units, studying these units, that it'll give you a much clearer understanding of where you might want to go. Just to give you a bit of an idea of recent graduates that have come out of having done the associate degree, which the certificate is embedded in, they've gained roles in as assistant manager of agribusiness, gained roles in agribusiness finance, also as agronomy trainees. So various people have come through this, and basically because of the skills they pick up, are employable pretty well straight away. One of the things that we do study, you have an elective to study, is value chains. This is all about understanding how what the impact of the customer. So if you understand what the customer wants, what they need, then it's much easier to actually then decide what production facility you might, or what production you might have. So one of the things that we do in value chains is looking at the market. And so that's really well connected to other units of study, which is agribusiness marketing. And so it's understanding where you fit as a business or where you fit as a person, because value chains is not just about a food or produce going from the producer to the consumer, but it's always also about service. And so with dealing with these business courses, business means people. So we need to work and understand how we work with people as well. So other units of study that they're quite similar to the business one, but another one that's probably separate is feasibility. If you can't work out whether something's going to work dollars-wise, then feasibility is a really good unit to be able to assess whether, and help the business that you're in, or help you manage whether the money is worth spending. So as well as doing finance, you might be thinking about doing the feasibility unit. So overall, as I said before, the agribusiness is an avenue of business when you've decided that actually I'd really like to understand a bit more about the food and fibre industry and where might I fit.
That's perfect. Thank you very much for that, Stephen. You've both given a really good overview and insight into what you'll be studying, so I think that's great. All right, so a quick run through of some of the administrative side. So you can apply online using our e-application account. Just search for the certificate under the course name. Next slide, please, Liz. And then so all the scholarships are automatically applied if you apply for this certificate and you are successful, as long as you are a domestic student. So they're only for domestic students, but you don't need to submit a separate application. You don't need to indicate anything on the application that you want this. It will be automatically considered. And it will be for all units that are taken in 2020. So the idea is that you do it full time and you get all your units done in one in the 6 months. So the 2 term 3 and term 4, rather than part time. If you do it part time, the scholarship will only apply for the units that you do this year, and it will be the normal fee for 2021. HEX help, so basically the fee of $2,500, which is the total tuition fee if you do it all in 2020, can be deferred with a HEX help loan if you are a citizen. So you just need to submit the ECAF form to apply for that, so that you don't need to pay that up front, and you would slowly pay that off after you graduated. Okay, moving on to questions. So it looks like we have a few already. I'll hand over to Elizabeth. She is the questions master.
I'm good at reading questions. There you go. Still to have. So Zane's asked a couple of questions. Thank you, Zane. So the first question is the 2,500 the total fee for the government support schemes? I think that's something me or Eva could probably answer. Yes, that's the fee that applies in 2020, and that is deferrable to HECS, as Eva has just pointed out. So that's the discounted fee for the course.
For the 4 units.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one. Zane's next question is, I am new to the certificates and only looked at undergraduate degrees. Would the certificate shed units or act as credit for future studies providing in the same area of study? So does anyone want to answer that in particular? Otherwise I can jump onto it.
Yeah, I can add something from a business perspective, because it seems like Zane's interested in small business. Yes, full credit to the associate degree in applied business. And my understanding is it's also full credit to a bachelor degree. Is that correct, Eva and Elizabeth?
I think it just depends on which degree you would want to do, but yes, they are undergraduate level. So
yeah, they're designed as stepping stones into, so the certificate reflects into our associate, and then you'll be able to step through the process. Zane, is I think how it's designed to work. Yeah.
So if I can clarify, the associate degree is 16 units. And so, yes, you would have 4 units taken off that 16. So we'll leave you 12 left to complete the associate degree in applied business.
So generally it's 8 units per year if you study full time.
And Zane's next question is, are there online options for study, or are they all on campus? This question relates to small business. So again, I can jump on this one for you, Zane. They are designed to all be online at this point. So yeah, they're all online units that you can do in semester 2 2020, which starts on the 13th of July, Eva?
It's actually term 3, so I think it's the 20th of July.
A little bit later.
Right? Is that right?
Yeah. So if I can add a little bit more to that, the programs that both Clayton and I run, and as well as the other programs, it's a flexible delivery. So we understand that people are in business and have different work hours. And so if you want to have access to the material and to the tutorials, we've provided different times for people to do that, because we understand that people have different lives. It's not just a straight 9 to 5 and yes, you do this at a particular time. The way that these courses have been structured is around the working life of and study patterns of individuals. And so that's why it's done in this way. Yes, certainly at the moment we're online because of the situation we find ourselves in. But we also make sure that even if we can be face-to-face, we've got an integration of both, so that you can actually study this. Doesn't matter where you are in Australia, you can study this. And so in agribusiness, if you move further into the course, there are times when it would be good to be in the one place, but it's not exclusive. And I know it's certainly in applied businesses all over Australia, so everywhere else, but it means that it is accessible.
Thanks for that, Stephen. Liz, are you going to read the next question?
Yes, I am. So what would, Sean's asked, what would the benefit of doing the small business course be over doing the NEIS scheme? So does anyone want to touch on that one?
The NEIS scheme?
Yeah.
I can say a little bit, being somewhat familiar with the NEIS scheme. I guess the fundamental difference is that this is a tertiary qualification. The NEIS scheme is not. The NEIS scheme has its advantages in that it's particularly focused on a particular business that you want to do and you want to start up, and it provides you with access to financial resources and rental assistance and those kind of aspects, and you pretty much have a guide that guides you through the NEIS scheme. That's as familiar as I am. I guess the fundamental difference with us is You'll be mixing with other people that are also looking at small business. So you'll have interaction with students in numerous contexts, and it is a tertiary qualification that gives you credit towards a university, towards an associate degree. But I am happy to discuss further with an individual student.
Thanks, Clayton.
No worries. Sean, just let us know if you'd like to discuss that any further in the chat box, and we can organise that for you. And Zane's just asked, when is the cut-off date for enrolment? So if term 3 starts on the 20th of July, I think we just said, I would be looking at doing it reasonably soon. So get yourself all, applied, and so you can get an offer, and that way you'll be able to start accessing bits and pieces as they come online. So I would do it sooner rather than later. I don't know that there's a cutoff date. I would imagine you just have to be enrolled before the 20th of July.
Yeah, just giving admissions a chance to assess your application. So sometimes it can take them 2 or 3 weeks to assess the applications because of the volume that we're receiving. But yeah, what have we got on the chat here? I think it's perfect.
I don't think there's anything else on the chat in terms of questions, so we can wait a couple more minutes. Oh, Sean's said, I do have a couple more questions I'd like to ask if someone is free afterwards. So was that relating to the question you asked Clayton? Just wait for Sean to reply in the box. Sorry, guys.
Sean, you might actually have the option to actually direct your question. If you wanted to ask a private question to Clayton. I know that I have that option. I'm not sure if you're able to do that. When you go into the 2 bit, there should be a drop down where you can.
Alternatively, I'm more than happy for you to pass my contact details on to Sean if it's small business that Sean's interested in.
Okay, yep. Sean, I'll what we'll do is we'll send you an email with Clayton's email address, and
it has my phone number in there as well.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. We'll do that. All right.
If anyone else thinks of any questions, I've just put up on the screen the general email address or the phone number that you can get in contact with one of our team, and then we can direct those inquiries to Stephen or Clayton as needed.
Okay, and we'll send that to you as well.
Zane will pass Clayton's details to you as well. That's perfect.
All right. So I think we'll wrap up now. Thanks very much, everyone, for coming along. And thank you very much to Stephen and Clayton for joining us today. It's been really great to have you here with us and hearing more about these certificates. So thank you very much. And I'm just going to stop the recording now.